several years, including just all the times that we've been together, that she's been a part of this ministry. She's only, her and Annie have not been with me, I believe, 2 or 3 times. And so it's beyond a blessing that God has been providing so that we can travel together as a family. We fly around the country. We don't always take the Jeep. We leave that here, rent a lot of cars, and a lot of times have one-way flights. So that's been a huge blessing. So Sappily Married is daily inspiration for married couples. And so if you're a married couple, engaged, even singles, there'll be a lot of advice because you may not be single forever. So there's some great advice there. So we want to launch that. Our dream eventually is down the road is to launch a marriage conference. And so that is in the works as well. All right, so for the big announcement, are you guys ready? I'll wait for some hearts and likes and thumbs up. Go ahead and give that. Jeff, what is up? There's another buddy of mine who's a youth speaker and magician. I'll tell you what, my buddies around the country are doing a phenomenal job. And they know, man, any way we can support one another, we're about it. It's not a competition. It's a matter of what ways can we reach youth the most. Jay, man, thanks for logging on. A buddy of mine that we used to own a huge venue together, 45,000 square feet, not 145, 45,000 square foot music venue, indoor skateboarding park, all kinds of cool stuff. So Jay, it's great to have you on. All right. So the hearts and lights are rolling in. Let's get ready. Drum roll. My wife can't give it because she's holding the camera. So here is it. Before I give the final punchline, I'm going to give a little very quick history of this. For many years, God has been stirring in me to do something huge. I mean, bigger than anything I could even dream up or fathom. As many of you know, I have a huge heart and passion for the younger generations. I think a lot of that comes through my years of youth pastoring, and that's my love. I love middle school, I love high school, I love college students. I have a heart and passion for reaching them with a message of hope. And I'm in schools, busier than I've ever been with Destroy Illusions. So those logging on that aren't familiar even with my school assembly program, go to destroyillusions.com. You guys can check that out. A lot of cool things happening there. But to me, there's so much more that can happen. I always thought, why, when it comes to like big music award shows, when it comes to these huge tours of artists that we listen to on the radio, if you go, man, I've been to a lot of concerts around Christmas time. I've been to these huge productions, right? In Vegas, been to tons of shows. And I always thought, man, entertainment's great, and I appreciate every bit of that professionalism that goes behind that and the money that it takes to put that kind of show on, and I understand that. But I always thought, why can't something like that be done for the sake of having a positive message attached to it that's going to reach young people? Generation Z and young millennials. That's from the littlest kids, like my little girl's age, even a little bit younger, all the way up to those through their 20s. So you got Gen Z, and then you got those young millennials still floating around, just kind of graduated college, and then up through their 20s and late 20s. I'll tell you what, they're a generation that more than ever, they're all about follow, right? And who's following me and how many likes do I have on things. But statistically, we know they're one of the loneliest generations. And it hurts, you know, when I'm in the schools. And if you got teenagers, you know this is the deal. Try talking to your kids. Everything's like this, right? You got the phone to your face. Yo, how was your day? Yeah, it was good, Dad. Yeah, it was good, yeah. So, or they're constantly looking down, right? I mean, they are social, they're technology driven, they are educated, they're realists, they're visual, And so I always thought, man, why can't we do a tour that will reach them? Anxiety, depression, suicide are an all-time high. I've told you many times through Destroy Illusions that you don't hear about the suicide issues very much because it doesn't always make the headlines. Partly because they're trying to protect the identity of minors. But I get contacted all the time. Every 2 hours in our country alone, a young person between 11 and I believe they say statistically 21 years old takes their life. Every 2 hours, someone takes their life. I mean, we just recently heard of a 9-year-old that took their life because they were bullied. And these issues are completely out of control. And so we want to reach them with a message of hope. And that's always been a dream and passion of mine. How can we do this on a great scale? Why don't believers and Christians come together to say, man, let's do something for the kingdom of God that's going to impact this generation like never before? Because we're losing them. Whether you realize it or not, you got teenagers, it's hard, right? It's hard to get your own teenagers, right, to love on you and to realize what you're trying to do for them. And my heart breaks. It breaks a lot. My wife can tell you the many times that we're on the road, the stories that we hear. I am passionate more than ever to go out and to do something as big as I can, because I want to go out and I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave a footprint on this earth that when I'm done, they say, man, Tom Coverly was here. And not so they can do this, but so they can say, that dude reached and impacted so many young people. So to say all of that, I have a buddy of mine that I've known for a long time, Brian McKnight, and he's on here live too. Brian, you can give a thumbs up, bro, if you're there. Brian and I have had a kindred spirit since day one. I know that Brian was working on this production the last 3 years. He's poured a lot of his money, his own money into this production. He's poured his heart, his soul into it, stepped out in faith. And I've watched it from afar, but I gotta be honest, I don't even know if I knew exactly to what extent. I knew he wanted to do something big. I guess I never really knew to who he wanted to reach. And one day we got talking, and Brian and I, we and our wives, we got together. They were down here visiting us here in Pensacola, Florida, and we got talking about all of this, and I realized that Brian's passion with Reclaim Production, and you can go to that website, reclaimproduction.com. His passion and heartbeat is to reach these young millennials and Generation Z with a message of hope. Big, I mean big scale. And that's what I'm saying. I've watched him say, man, I'm going to do this, one of the biggest scales that this country has ever seen, that has a positive message attached to it. It's going to deliver a positive message of hope and bring those into the kingdom of God so that we can share where our hope comes from. And there might be some logging on, you're like, man, I don't believe in this Jesus stuff. That's all right. That's where my hope comes from. And nothing else settles in this world, not money, not anything else, because that stuff's temporary. But things that matter for eternity is what it's all about for myself and Brian. And so Brian told me at breakfast, he said, man, I would love for you to be a 50-50 in this with me. I would love to have you be a part of this. So him and I are co-producing one of the biggest tours America has ever seen that will have a positive message attached to it. You think about the generation we're reaching that is high tech, right? So this is going to be a dramatic presentation with special effects, the biggest lighting, all kinds of LED walls that are going to be taking place. If you ever watch any of my buddies on America's Got Talent and they're pulling things off of the screen, right? You got all that stuff going on and they're pulling objects off. It'll have some of that stuff going on, some elements, so that we can tell the greatest story that was ever told. And I'm going to kind of end and wrap it up with this. 2 of the greatest days of your life are this. Number 1, the day you were born. and the day you found out why. The day you were born and the day you found out why. And our passion is to create this tour. It's called the I Found Out Why Tour. I Found Out Why. We want millennials and Generation Z, the parents that are raising them, the grandparents, the guardians, we want them to know their why. Think about when you were in elementary school. Did you know your why? Probably not. My dream was to be a trash truck guy, like the guys that like dumping the garbage. Like I thought it was the coolest thing to watch these guys like hang on the back of a garbage truck, right? And they didn't have to go in the cab and have a seatbelt on, right? And we need guys doing that. But I realized as a kid, it's probably not my passion, right? I just thought it was something cool. When you're in middle school, how many high school kids, even as they're preparing for college, know their why they were created, why were they born? How many adults know that passion? How many adults do you know, and friends of mine even, that are working 9-to-5 jobs and they can't wait to get home from their job? They hate their job and they wait till they live for the weekend, right? Because the weekend's when they get to do their hobbies and the things they enjoy. What's your why? The day you were born, greatest day of your life. And then number 2, the day you found out why. This tour is going to answer that question. Why was I born? What is my purpose? And when young people know their purpose in their life, I'm telling you, suicide rates will go down. When they know their purpose in this life, they will be driven. When they know their purpose in this life, they're going to affect other people. I look at the few people in my life who have played key parts in why I'm doing what I'm doing today. And it only took a few people to make that kind of impact. For now, in the last decade, I've spoke to over 3 million young people around the world. And I don't say that to gloat. I don't pat me on the back. I pat my great God on the back for opening those doors. I Found Out Why Tour. So if you would do us a huge favor, and that is go to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and add us, I Found Out Why Tour. And then also the website will be up soon. Working on that right now, I Found Out Why Tour. And then for now, you can go to reclaimproduction.com. There's a bunch of stuff that Brian's been working on for the last few years that are up on that website. So thank you for listening. Thank you for praying. I'm going to ask that you would continue to pray. We are excited. And I'm pumped more than ever because, again, this generation, these younger generations, they need hope. And I can't do it by myself. Brian can't do this. This is going to take a lot more. It's bigger than us. It's not one of those things like when my buddy and I had a venue that, we were encouraged to leap out in faith. So big that when God answers it, you can only look back and credit God. That's what this is going to take. We're seeking corporate sponsors. National corporate sponsors, ones that we're excited about that. We're also looking for all kinds of business sponsors. We're also looking for donors, people that would be willing to help with this. So if you want to know more about it, you can email us I'll back that up. ifoundoutwhy@gmail.com. ifoundoutwhy@gmail.com. And so shoot us an email or get a hold of Brian at reclaimproduction.com. And if you would like to be someone who's included on just the kind of news updates to what's happening, where's this going? If you know of churches, we're looking for churches, 1,000+ seats that would be willing to host this. We're looking to launch this fall, okay? So churches that would like to host this, civic theaters, our dream. Phase 1 is going to take a lot of money. Phase 2, we want to blow that thing up even bigger in season 2 and season 3 of touring so that we can be in stadiums across this country, reaching these generations with a message of hope. I love you guys. Seriously, it means a lot that you tuned in and watched. And keep praying. God bless. Peace.